With U.S. President Donald Trump's ongoing tariffs on all Canadian goods, steel and aluminum, the effects are expected to be substantial on Manitoba and the rest of the country. Friday, Mark Carney was sworn in as the new Prime Minister, and he promised to take action against this threat of economic warfare. Carney has a long history with economics and business, but new tariffs are expected April 2nd. Joining us now from the U of M's Department of Economics is Fletcher Barager. Good morning, Fletcher.
Good morning.
Thanks for joining us. Now, can you explain to us what tariffs are exactly and how they work?
They're really actually a form of a tax, but it's a tax on goods and sometimes services that are essentially crossing international boundaries. And so a tariff means that if a country is exporting, say country A is exporting to country B, when countries A's goods cross the boundary into country B, the recipients of those goods have to pay a tax on it. And so that's what the tariffs, that's how they basically work. So it's a tax really on the movement of goods and sometimes services as they cross those boundaries.
Now, in this case, because of that, they're paying in the U.S. on this extra tax. Why would Donald Trump's tariffs be so damaging here in our economy?
Well, because of the tariffs, they're paying that tax. That means that for whoever is buying those goods in the United States, so they're buying Canadian goods in the United States, the price of those goods becomes higher. And exactly how much higher obviously depends, of course, on how big the tariff is. And then also it depends on the seller to what extent they may want to maybe lower their price or absorb part of that tariff themselves. So a 25% tariff on a Canadian good going to the United States doesn't necessarily mean that the price is on the market will be 25% higher, but it does mean that either the buyer or the seller is going to pay some portion of that additional cost. And that makes it more expensive for, say, Canadians to export to the United States. And because the goods are going to be more expensive for buyers in the United States, they might decide to buy fewer of those goods or look for alternative supplies. If they buy fewer goods, that means less sales for Canadian producers. Therefore, they might cut back on their production. That means lower revenues, maybe lower profits. And also, crucially, it can mean some layoffs, a lack of new investment, and that can have, of course, serious implications for jobs, employment, and household incomes.
Could these implications open the door to Trump's threats to annex Canada?
It's an interesting I mean, just theoretically, I think the decision to annex Canada is not so much driven maybe by tariffs, but possibly by grand ideas or illusions of empire, perhaps on the part of Trump and President Trump in the White House, and possibly also geostrategic concerns about defense of North America and areas there. The economics for absorption into Canada, if, as Trump is saying, if the idea is to relocate jobs to the United States, to the mainland 48 states, for example, then absorbing Canada sort of defeats that purpose, because why would you move the jobs in if you're all part of the same country? So I think it's probably maybe some other and possibly non-economic factors that might be driving the so-called 51st state dreams of President Trump.
Okay, well, thank you, Fletcher, for your time and your perspective on this. We really appreciate it.